Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh players, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual. I'm your host, the RJB0. So, today, as promised, I am bringing you guys the final deck of my Dark Arm Dragon month. This is my Dad control deck, which is essentially TeleDAD. I don't like calling things TeleDAD exactly anymore, mostly because you don't really use the Dark Arm Dragon as much in most decks. You don't usually use it in conjunction with Teleport as much in most decks, but I suppose you can say that the playstyle of this deck is very, very similar to the old original style TeleDAD deck. I mean, it's minus a couple of cards and adding a couple of cards, but in the general playstyle, it's very much like the old TeleDAD. It's very combo based, and it gets some pretty cool plays, as many of you guys have seen in the duel video that I posted a little earlier today. So why don't I just get down to the deck profile, and I will kind of explain as I go along. First, we have Armonite and Dark Grepher. These are our two main milling engines. They allow me to put my Malleys in the grave early on and Plague Spreader in the grave, and that's pretty much the MO for this deck. You try to put Malley and Plague in the grave early on, and then you end up getting some pretty great plays. So then, of course, you have the obligatory Dark Arm Dragon, because this is Dark Arm Dragon month, and he's one of the best boss monsters of all time. He's just freaking amazing. Then our Destiny heroes. We have two Diamond Dudes. Diamond Dude is pretty central to this deck, since you will notice that I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I have about 9 normal spell cards in here, and they're all pretty darn good. So I can put them in the grave with Diamond Dude, and it's pretty likely later on in the game that I'm going to mill one of my normal spells. And if I don't want to take any chances, I can stack one of them from my hand onto the top of my deck to use Plague Spreader's effect. So then, of course, you've got the obligatory Triple Malicious. This guy is basically the center of the majority of combos in this deck, and you can use him in conjunction with a large number of the cards. And then you've got Triple Plasma, which is very much a departure from the trend for this deck. The reason why I started running Plasma was to give Diamond Dude more targets, so I could start running Trade-In. So that I can mill that with Diamond Dude and get that +2 like you do with the Destiny draw. And I'm also running the Dark Creator, which just allows me to run the more trade-ins. The other great thing about Plasma is he's just a really freaking good card. And if you can combo him with Malley and Krebons or Plague Spreader in order to put a Stardust on the board at the same time as Plasma, you basically have game at that point. Then you've got Gores, because he's one of your only defensive cards. Really powerful boss monster, pretty much self-explanatory, I suppose. Then you've got the Triple Krebons. Main tuner of the deck, allows you to make combos with Malley. You can telly him from the deck, etc., etc., etc. Then you have one Plague Spreader Zombie, another central portion to the deck. He is also very central to many of the combos with Diamond Dude and Malley, in case you draw a Malley, of course, when you already have one in the grave, and things like that. Then you've got Summoner Monk, and if I had to say what was the most important card to this deck, I wouldn't normally say Summoner Monk. Like, I wouldn't expect the answer to be Summoner Monk, but in all reality, this card is amazing. As you guys saw in my duel earlier today, Summoner Monk was basically the reason why I got that OTK, because if I open with a Summoner Monk, a spell, and a tuner, and my opponent doesn't Veiler the Summoner Monk, I basically win the game, because I can discard the spell for Summoner Monk to summon Armonite from my deck. I can pitch the Malley with the Armonite, go into Laval Chain, overlay or detach a material for Laval Chain's effect, put the Dark Arm Dragon on the grave. Now I have a setup for Malley. I have a setup for to make synchro plays, and I already have Dark Arm Dragon ready to play. So Summoner Monk is a crucial part to this deck, and he also gets rid of the numerous dead spells that occasionally come up. Then we've got the Dark Creator, really good late game. He helps me to abuse that Plasma, so later in the game I can pull out the Plasma from the grave, or the Gores from the grave, or if earlier on I had summoned Dark End. Just a lot of good things that you can do with Dark Creator. I often just use him as trade-in fodder, but, sometimes he really comes in handy. I might trade him out for another Dark level 8, but he's pretty much my card of choice right now. And then the double tour guide, which allows me to extend my Plague Spreader plays by putting him back on the board with Leviair. She also allows me to go into Ghost Trick Alucard, which allows me to pop cards and open up more combos. And she can also be defensive with Zen mains, and she's a Dark monster, which allows me to get Darks faster in the grave for Dark Armed and the Dark Creator. And I've got double Trigodia, which is basically my other main defensive play. I can also make him a level 8 and go for more tuning plays, or I can make him a level 6 and go for more level 8 tuning plays, or make him a level 6 and then use Mally's Effect to overlay into a rank 6. He's just a generally very versatile card. And more importantly, he acts as a defensive play, which this deck kind of lacks in. Then you've got the one obligatory Allure of Darkness for when you have dead monsters in your hand. You have one creature swap. I do run a lot of goats, so I end up using creature swap pretty often. I might try and find a way to put in another one. It's also another target for Diamond Dude, so you can put the creature swap in the grave, and if you have a scapegoat, you can switch control with one of your opponent's monsters for free during the next turn. It's pretty nice. Then you've got, of course, the triple Destiny draw, and the double emergency teleport. I decided not to go to 3, mostly because I didn't have enough room, and partially because I don't think it is absolutely necessary to always have a teleport available, since the Krebons are only about maybe a quarter of the important plays in this deck. And there are just a lot of ways to draw into him and grab him from the deck and things like that. So I don't find the triple teleport totally necessary. Double MSTs are the staple. Rhoda is also staple to this deck. Triple Scapegoat, it's another defensive play for me. It allows me to put Plasma on the board. It makes synchro plays with Krebons and Plague Spreader. Just a lot of cool things that come out of Scapegoat. Then, of course, a triple trade-in and one Torrential Tribute because it's one of the best defensive cards in the game. You've pretty much seen my entire extra deck. Got the Crimson Blader, the Dark End Dragon, the Gaia Knight, Scrap Dragon Stardust, Thought Ruler, Vulcan. You've got one M7, a Cowboy, an Alucard, Laval Chain, best card in the extra deck, most important to all my OTKs. Then you've got a Leviair, and a Maestroke, and Zen Mains, and Gauntlet Launcher, which can destroy 2 monsters on the field for free, essentially. So that is my modern 2013 TeleDAD deck. I hope that you guys enjoy it. I will post a few more duels later, both with this deck and with the old TeleDAD deck that I showed you guys before. Sure, I'll save my deck. Anyway, this is the deck I'm talking about. Meanwhile, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, let me know why in the comment section below. And then, of course, subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks, analysis, discussions, and general shenanigans. Thank you guys for watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual. I'm your host, the RJB0, and I got a jet. See you guys.